Hey, Mike, how are you?
I'm great, Dave. How are you?
Better than I deserve. What's up?
I got a scenario for you. You know, I hear a lot of success stories, on your show. People call in and they give the debt-free scream and all that stuff, and that's great and wonderful. And I want to get into that position.
Cool.
But it seems like I don't understand how to do it. Like, I don't know. Like, I work off commission, and my wife doesn't.
Okay.
I think what we our W-2s recorded last year were approximately, I don't know the exact figure, but around 82,000.
Well, you're making good money. It just comes and goes, and it's not predictable, and it makes it very hard to budget using traditional budget methods. Is that what you're saying?
Right.
Okay.
Yes, because my checks are never the same.
Yeah. Here's what we did. Here's what we've learned to do. Sharon and I had to do this when we first started, Mike, because I was doing real estate back then, and some months I literally made zero. And then the next, I might make 20 grand the next month. So it was really volatile. The good news is you've at least got the baseline of your wife's income, and you probably never have a zero month. You just don't know what it's going to be exactly, right?
Correct.
Okay, so here's what we teach folks to do, and this works really good. You do your normal zero-based budget. Now, what that means is you do a budget that you just lay out your spending. You spend every dollar of your known income on paper before the month begins. Every dollar has an assignment. So what is your wife's take-home pay in a month?
In a month, she's probably around $1,300.
Okay, and what is your worst month's take-home pay last year?
You're probably looking about 80 hours times 20. So I think the worst was probably $1,200.
Okay. So she made $1,200, you made $1,200. Was your worst month was $2,400, right?
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Let's run a budget on $2,500, a regular budget.
Okay.
How much is your house payment?
$1,212.
Okay, so there's a bunch of it. And take your lights and water out, take some food out. And let's do some of the basic, really important things: food, shelter, clothing, transportation, and use up that $2,500 right quick. Okay. Now, there's a bunch of stuff didn't make that list, right?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Car payments.
Exactly. Well, I mean, you may get to one of those there, but it depends on what you're spending on food. But I mean, if you spend $500 on food, you'll spend more than that. If you spend, let's say, $800 on food, that puts you at $2,000. Then you got $500 more for lights and water. Yeah, you may not get you're not going to get to the car payments. Okay, so let's make a list of all the things that the $2,500 did not cover. You follow me?
Okay.
Look at that list and say, what is the most important thing on that list that I have to do with the first dollar that comes in above $2,500? And it's probably going to be a car payment in your situation. Okay.
Car payment / insurance, yeah.
Yeah, well, a car payment you pay before you pay insurance. Then you pay insurance right after that. They're both important, but you're probably not going to have another $1,200 a month. You aren't. You're probably, so we're shooting low. But we're going to make a list, and you look at that list and you say, okay, if I can only do one bill above the $2,500 budget that didn't make the list, you follow my thinking? What would I do? Yeah. And you put a number 1 beside that. Now, let's pretend that one's paid. If I can do one more, what would I do? And you put a 2 beside that. If I can do one more, what would I do? And you put a 3 beside that. If I can do one more, pretty soon you're going to get all the basics covered, and you're going to be down into knocking out basic bills. Then you're going to get on to where you say, if I could do one more, what would I do? Well, I'd save some money, or I would work my debt snowball, or wherever you were in the baby steps. But those things don't happen until you get your basics covered. Do you follow me?
Right. Yes.
So you then take that list where you've numbered everything by priority, you rewrite the list in priority, and that's called an irregular income planning sheet. And so your first $2,500 spent, so your wife's check spent, and your first $1,200 or $1,400 that comes in is spent, right?
Okay.
That's gone. Then the first check you get that breaks through that plane, breaks through the top of that $2,500 amount, is going to go to number 1. You follow me?
Yes.
And you don't do anything else until number 1's done. As soon as it's done, you got any more money, you go to number 2. As soon as that's done, you go to number 3. And what we learned to do was we went on over on the right-hand column of that prioritized sheet, and we ran a running total In other words, number 1 plus number 2 equals. Plus number 3 equals. Plus number 4 equals. So the first 4 added up were $712 or whatever they are. I just made that number up, okay? Then if you get a check in for $700, you go, well, look at that. I can knock out, I'm done with my baseline, my $2,500, and I can knock out number 1 through 4. And you draw lines through those, you pay those bills, and then the next check that comes in, you pick up, you pay number 5 through whatever. And you rewrite that list a couple times usually during the month so you can kind of just keep up with where you are. But you don't spend money anywhere that you haven't written down.
Okay.
You haven't both agreed.
Though. I haven't brought up this point.
What now?
And it gets a little more difficult when you hear what's going on. I spoke to the screener about this.
Okay.
Like this past weekend.
Yeah.
We had no food. We had nothing. We had $12 in our bank account, and I'm
because you didn't have a plan.
Well, yeah, that's then. But what do I do now? I mean, would I go?
You plan for the next week. When's your next check coming?
But you don't understand. We're almost negative every pay period. Like
No. You're not negative until you spent the money.
Oh no, it's negative. The bank account's in red.
Okay.
Every month it's like this.
No, because you're spending money. Listen, if you laid out a plan for your next check, you would never lay out a plan to take you into the negative. You follow me?
So I guess I don't. If that
okay. So
works,
when is your next check coming?
I get paid on the 5th and the 20th.
Okay. So you get a check in a couple days. When is her next check coming?
Her check comes this Wednesday, but we're negative, so we're already
okay. All right. Well, there we go. So stop a second. So how much is her?
$200 in the hole.
Okay. So how much is her check? $1,200 or $600, right?
Yeah, it's around $650.
So we're gonna go ahead and spend her check right now on paper. 200 of it's gone. We got to get positive.
Okay.
And you spend the next 400.
200 for an automatic withdrawal.
Yep. To get current. What's the automatic withdrawal?
It's a line of credit that she went to get.
Cancel the automatic withdrawal.
Okay.
Cancel the automatic withdrawal so that it does. So it's not controlling you. Now you're going to spend this $600, and then you're going to spend your 5th check on paper, and you're not going to intentionally spend more and go into the red ever again. You're going to stop it. That's how you do it, right there. Hold on, I'm going to send you a copy of the Total Money Makeover book to help you with this, bro. You can do this. Well, you guys would be so rich so fast and be able to do so much not only for yourselves and for your family, but for others. We're dead.